Proudly broadcasting from the Richard Philip Cavallaro studio.
WRHU.
Hempstead.
You've discovered
A cornerstone of the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication.
WRHU.
Hello, screeners. We're back again.
You're listening to The Screening Room on 88.7 FM Radio Hofstra University.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Say hello to my little friend.
Join us as we talk about all things pop culture,
Hollywood news,
And entertainment.
I also have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
screeners buckle up.
and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Screening Room on WRHU. I'm your host, Michael Albrecht. Also in the studio, we have Abby Gibson, Michael Ventris, and Tommy Saxa. On today's show, we are discussing shifts in LA, James Bond, and all the latest entertainment news. For more on our show, follow us on Instagram at Screening Room WRHU. Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope everybody had a great fall break.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to hear it. All right, I hope we're all doing well as well. That was a bad sentence. How about we start this show with what have we been watching?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question, right?
Yeah.
Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah. I was thinking about this like last week. I'm like, oh, I knew what I was gonna say last week, but I forgot what I was gonna say like right now. But there's this one show, I guess. It's a Dan, DANDADAN, and so basically, it's like one of those like it's like one of those things where like strangers become like besties or whatever, and so the premise is, one of them doesn't believe in ghosts, and the other one doesn't believe in like aliens, and so basically, they like challenge each other, of like, oh, whoever's gonna survive in like this one place, will like they essentially try to prove each other like wrong or whatever, because one of them believes in aliens and the other one believes in like ghosts and stuff, and then so they go to the places, accidents happen, one of them and they both get like superpowers or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then the whole show is
This is all in the first episode?
Yes.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's like the first episode
Yeah.
is kind of like the first episode of TV show is kind of like the first act of a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It's the pilot.
TV shows, yes. TV shows, the way they're structured are similar and different to film. Like people say there's not 3 acts in TV shows. That's because in TV shows there are absolutely 3 acts, like there are 3 acts in a movie, beginning, middle,
You have to
and end.
really stretch them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But people say there are 5 acts in a TV show.
Really?
Yes. In TV, well, it depends on it. There's
Yeah.
there's two to 5. It depends on the length of the episode, and the acts are commercials.
Oh.
They're not story acts. I mean, they are, but they're more of this is what we're telling, and then we have a 2-minute commercial. This is what we have, you know. And even for like HBO shows that don't have commercials, that they still do it like that. But each season has its own act. Then like the series itself has like the 3 acts, and then each episode has like 3 acts basically for storytelling. So the first episode, I'm so sorry I got on this track, but I'm a nerd for
No, you're
story
fine.
theory.
Yeah.
The
Story
first
theory.
episode is pretty much that whole like first act of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah, exactly.
inciting incident, call to adventure, getting out of the normal world.
Yeah.
Saying I don't want to do this, and then we're going into this. This is the new world.
Does
Yeah.
the same structure apply to like serialized episodic sitcoms?
Yeah. You mean episodic or serial?
Episodic is the stories are just contained in that one episode, right?
I think that's serial. Episodic is continuing. I could be wrong.
No, I think you are right. Sorry.
But Serial, kind of. So the first episode will be like NCIS is a good example of this, where it's be like, which we'll talk a little bit of NCIS later on in the show.
Heck yeah.
It'll be like the first episode will explain why we're in this world and how we got here.
Yeah.
For the most part, some of them like Twilight Zone's not a good example, but like Criminal Minds, very quickly addresses like, oh, this is how this main character goes from like being in a college to going back to the FBI, and then we're just like new thing.
I don't know if you watched Twin Peaks, but that is one of the best pilots I've ever seen
Yes,
in terms of
Twin
establishing
Peaks.
the world too. Like that's almost its own movie.
I agree. Twin Peaks is a great pilot. Are you're filming TV or just TV?
Just film.
Your film? Okay.
Yeah.
And I had to take a TV aesthetics class, and it would basically be every week you do a new show, a new pilot, and it'd go down in history of TV from like the 40s or something.
Nice.
And we did Twin Peaks.
Ooh.
We talked about Twin Peaks and like its aesthetics and stuff. And we watched the pilot, and you're absolutely right. It is an incredible pilot. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
I find, and then
I got off on a tangent.
And then I've also been watching a lot of a text called like, it's the Pawn Shop
Pawn
show.
Stars?
Pawn Stars?
No, out in Michigan. Oh, it's like a American like loan or whatever. Like I am
Interesting.
like it's the one out in like Michigan, and I'm obsessed with it. Like it is not good.
That's funny.
I'm obsessed with it.
That sounds similar to my girlfriend likes these shows. Like she says Twilight is a good example of this, even though it's a movie. Of things that are so bad it's good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that like an example of that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like the interviews, like they just feel like so like staged, like they feel like Jerry Springer staged, you know. But also Law and Order. Like
Yeah.
I'm watching a lot of that. Like I can't stop. Like
That's okay.
it's also on like Facebook too. So yeah.
That's all right. All right. Well, that's cool. Abby, I heard you've watched and went to some cool things
oh boy.
recently.
Yeah. So like two things. First, I went to Sabrina Carpenter's concert.
Ooh, that's fun.
September 30th, Barclays Center. She's so good. She's working late because she's a really good singer, guys. And so
Slay.
also yesterday night, I watched La La Land for the first time,
That's good.
which I cried about, but it's okay. Like I just wanted to know because I've heard about like the piano song part, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why is that so depressing for people when they hear it? And now I get it. Like, yeah, valid reactions, but both of them were just so good, guys.
I'm like Pavlovian conditioned to cry whenever I hear that piano. I'm in the same boat as you.
Pavlov's
Oh, yeah.
dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cinematography in that movie is really good, and it helps with the
Yeah.
emotion. So.
I feel like that was like 2016. I don't know if there's any movie that's been like that, but I also just don't watch that many movies. But like,
I mean, for
Yeah.
me,
Oh, sorry. It's funny. The only movie that has been like that is by the same director, Whiplash.
yeah.
oh, that's good. Mine was gonna be more of a joke.
Oh wait, no, yeah. What is it?
I'm gonna say for me, this is serious.
Hmm.
For me, it was Avengers Endgame.
I cried at the end
Explain
of
your
that.
logic, Michael.
Yes, I cried at the end of that.
Yeah. Dude, I cried.
Cause like for me at least, these films like my childhood,
Yeah.
like 2008. You know, these films have been going on, and you see spoiler for a movie that came out 7 years ago.
5, 6
at this
years ago.
point. Yeah,
Y'all should go watch it. Just
watch
just
it.
saying.
You know, Iron Man
Catch
dies
up.
at the end, so like that was
No,
a
really?
lot, and like yeah, right,
Damn.
crazy.
No way.
Well, especially because like how long they were telling the story for, how many movies they had. you know,
Yeah.
to end it all in that like that moment, you know, it was a lot.
It was a lot
Yeah.
for me
Not-
at least, but yeah. Tommy.
So I've not a huge TV guy, but I've been watching two shows. First, I don't know if you guys have watched this, The Penguin on HBO Max.
Nope.
I want to.
It is phenomenal. You know, I don't know if you guys saw the Batman in 2021, but
I did.
it left a lot for stories.
Oh, that
'cause
penguin. Okay.
Two things happen. No spoiler. Sorry, I'm gonna spoil it completely. The town gets flooded, and Carmine Falcone dies. So there's a huge like power imbalance, and that show kind of picks up where it leaves
The
off.
movie.
Yeah, and it's just him trying to reclaim this like power. It's phenomenal.
Nice.
It basically reminds me of like old Sopranos in the way that it's like the really just compelling crime drama.
I love that.
But also, I watched the first episode of Shogun. We
How's
talked
that?
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Oh my! I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was based on like old Akira Kurosawa samurai movies, and it blew me away.
That's good.
I mean, the world is so violent and brutal.
Is it
Almost like
is it in
actual
English
time.
or in Japanese?
There is an English like audience surrogate character, who's like the protagonist, and I kind of complained about that first, like, oh, they're making like an American protagonist, but the whole story is kind of told through his eyes. But the Japanese characters speak Japanese.
Similar to like Last Samurai a little bit.
Yeah, if I saw that.
You should watch Last Samurai.
I know,
Tommy.
people-
It's so good.
People said-
I watched that in school. Not at Hofstra. I watched it
In high school.
when we were doing like world
to high
history,
school.
and we got to like Japan and like them moving from like the traditional quote unquote culture into like being industrialized and so that was fun. For me, I haven't watched really that much new things. I kept on watching The West Wing. I love that show. So good. Just the first 2 seasons are some of the best TV and writing ever. I finished season 2 of Succession, which is great.
Nice.
And I have to start season 3 for my class. And then on Thursday, in my Women's and Nervous class, we watched Love and Basketball, which I actually kind of liked. I didn't think I would like that much. I didn't finish it because I had to leave to tech a show. But I actually really liked that movie. It wasn't bad. I liked the story. It wasn't traditional like storytelling, but narrative structure is like kind of like guidelines.
I've never
not
heard
really
of this.
rules.
Is it like a rom-com?
Kind of. It's kind of a sports movie, and
Ooh, that's a red flag for me.
It's kind of a sports movie, and
Okay.
it's also kind of a rom-com. It's not really comedy. There's some comedy in it. It's kind of a dramedy, but it has some romantic elements. But yeah. Anybody else have any final thoughts, comments, concerns?
Wait.
Don't watch Joker 2. I made the mistake of going to that.
Yeah.
Maybe skip that one.
What's wrong with Joker 2?
I just said, let's see for yourself.
See for myself. Nah,
Yeah.
man.
All right. Well, I'm so glad we all have been watching some great stuff. Now we're going to play a game
Ooh, exciting.
of Guess That Quote. This one
Yeah.
might be hard, although I say that every
You
time.
really think you can stump me this time?
I was
Yes.
just about to say, like, it's going to be hard, but Tommy proves me wrong every single time. How the game works is I'm going to say a quote from a movie or TV show, and you're going to say what movie it's from. You
Okay.
get bonus points
Yeah.
if you also name the character who said it.
How many bonus points?
You get 1.
Heck
better
yeah.
not make this
Well,
easy. You better
you
not
get
have
a
a
whole
question
point.
saying like, oh, we're in Jurassic Park.
No, welcome to Jurassic Park. Okay, are we ready, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Gonna move up. Okay. I'm having an old friend for dinner.
No clue.
I know the line. I've heard the line.
Okay.
An old friend for dinner.
Having an
He's
old
get-
friend.
Silence
for
of the
dinner.
Lambs.
It is Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
You know who says it?
Anthony Hopkins.
I'll give it to you. It's Hannibal Lecter.
Sorry, Hannibal
You got the
Lecter.
actor.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. 2. I am the one who knocks.
Oh.
Breaking Bad.
White.
I'm gonna give you both a point.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna give you both a point.
Thank you.
Okay. You talking to me?
It's Taxi
Well,
Driver.
I'm the only one here. It is Taxi Driver. Do you know who says it?
I forgot the Taxi Driver.
It's Travis Blake. Or I said that wrong. Travis Bickle. Secrets are like zombies. They never truly die.
It's a good line, but
No
I
clue.
actually don't know it.
You don't know it? Abby, do you know this?
Zombieland.
I feel like I don't watch enough movies or TV shows for
Zombie
this,
Land's
guys.
like-
Oh my god.
I'll give you
Warm Bodies.
Warm
no.
Bodies,
Do you want a
what?
hint?
Yes.
You want a hint? This is from a Netflix series that came out in 2022.
2020.
That does not help.
Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
It is
Nice.
Wednesday. It was said by Wednesday Adams. Okay.
That makes sense actually now I think about it.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
The
Attack
Joker?
ships on fire. off the shoulder of Orion?
No
That's a
clue.
really metal line though, but I don't know it.
It's from a movie from the early 80s.
I've seen.
What's
Are
the
we
other?
stumping Tommy right now,
Die
guys?
Hard?
Wait.
No. Oh, my empire is falling.
This is like my greatest moment.
No, don't look at me. I'm hideous.
It's from a movie from 1982.
Okay.
The Terminator.
I don't think that's 1982.
It is the 80s.
Let me check Letterboxd. Hold on.
I can give you a greater hint.
Yes, I'll take that.
Harrison Ford.
Oh, Blade
Indiana
Runner?
Jones.
It is Blade Runner.
Okay.
Oh.
All
It
right.
is Blade Runner. The night is darkest just before the dawn, and I promise you, the dawn is coming.
The
From
Joker.
Dusk Till Dawn.
No.
That was just a shot in the dark.
Any other? Do you want?
The Joker.
That's close.
The Suicide
Oh wait,
Squad.
Dark Knight.
It is the Dark Knight.
Oh,
Who says
okay.
it?
All right.
I was thinking the newer Batman.
Do you know who says it?
Wait, the dawn is coming. I feel like it's Harvey
Jared
Dent.
Leto.
It is Harvey Dent.
All right.
It is Harvey Dent.
That sounds like something he would say.
Fear is an illness. If you catch it and leave it untreated, it can consume you.
Batman.
I've heard the line.
I
Don't
feel
think I
like
haven't
you've
heard the
watched
line.
this show, Tommy.
Fear is if you catch it,
Batman.
it can consume you.
No.
The
I prob-
Joker.
No, like I've heard the
Would
line.
you like a hint?
Yeah, I'll
Penguin.
take a little hint.
2019 TV show
Definitely seen the show.
on Netflix.
What?
Is it a horror show?
No. There are horror elements, but I wouldn't consider it horror.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Mike, do you know?
What's the quote?
Fear is an illness. If you catch it and leave it untreated, it can consume you.
It's like a.
I'm thinking like Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's like a
or-
No,
villain
but
quote.
similar-ish.
Similar-ish.
Should I tell you,
Yeah.
Tommy?
Yeah, go on.
It's The Witcher.
Oh my God, it's totally yeah.
So Richard,
I
Gerald-
watched the first season of
Geralt
that
of
show.
Rivia said it. I watched all of it and I love it. I am big. It's the pictures that
They got smaller.
small.
That's Sunset
That
Boulevard.
is Sunset Boulevard. Who said it?
Norma Desmond.
Good job.
Love that movie.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Oh, is that-
Oh, dang.
500 Days of Summer.
No.
Is
No.
it Ferris Bueller?
No, that sounds like a Ferris Bueller quote though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike,
I know I've heard of this, but
it's a show that came out it was a 2005 to 2013 show.
oh, dang. What? How I Met Your Mother.
No.
No? Really?
The
I wish there was a
Office?
day. This is from the finale of this show. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left.
The Office.
It is the
Oh,
Office.
yes. Okay.
Good
that's
job.
close.
Do you know who
That's-
said
that's
it?
good.
Creed.
No, it's Andy Bernard.
Alright.
Creed.
I did just a shot in the dark. He's my favorite character.
I am
Oh,
serious.
wow.
And don't call me Shirley.
Airplane.
It is Airplane. Who says it?
Oh, wait, the Leslie Tompkins.
It's Leslie Tom. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
man's
his
cheating.
name's Dr. Romick in the movie. All right, last one. Because apparently I did 11 instead of 10. A Lannister always pays his debts.
Who?
It's
That's
Game of
easy.
Thrones.
It's Game of
Wow,
Thrones.
way to stump me.
I know. I should have put that one first.
Yeah.
And that is said by multiple family members, notably Tyrion Lannister,
The goat.
the goat.
Wow.
I love Tyrion so much.
Who doesn't? He drinks and he knows things. It's awesome.
It's true. That would have been a good quote to say. All right. Well, that was a fun game, guys. Thank you all for playing. We are now going to hand it over to our very own Abby Gibson to catch us up on some of the latest stories with our first news break.
Welcome back to Entertainment News Break. I'm Abby Gibson, and here are this week's top stories. Musical artist Charlie XCX released a new Brat remix album on October 11th with new features including but not limited to Ariana Grande, The 1975, and Bon Iver. Brat Summer is turning into Brat Autumn before our eyes. Amelia de Moldenberg's famous chicken shop date announced a long-awaited guest, Andrew Garfield. He will appear on the interview show this Friday. Heartstoppers Kit Connor and Hunger Games' Rachel Zegler made their Broadway debut in Romeo and Juliet on September 26. Reviews have been pretty good so far, with the show being described as Gen Z humor meets the iconic Shakespeare play. And that's all for this news break. Stay tuned for more entertainment news later in the show.
Thank you, Abby. Let's move now to our main discussion for today. I just remembered something I wanted to say before I went the script. My girlfriend and my sister found out in the last week that I don't know what brat is.
Stop.
Yeah.
For shame.
I don't know.
I was like,
Brat Summer's going year long,
I was like,
baby.
what is that?
it though?
And then
It's Brat
I-
Summer.
It's just
Charlie
Brat.
XCXL.
I didn't
Give
know
me
what
a
it was.
definition.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
They played it for me, my girlfriend and her roommates, who thought I was crazy, and I was like, "This is fine," because I'm not a huge pop person, modern day pop. And then, excuse me. Yeah, and I asked my sister, I was like, "Is this crazy?" And she was like, "Yeah, you're weird."
I feel like Brad is just the album you put on
honesty.
when you want to have a good time,
Okay.
like jump around.
I got when you sent me the news break while I was at
Yeah.
dinner with my girlfriend, and I read the first one. I was like, "Hey, is Charlie XCX and Charlie D'Amelio the same person?"
That's what I thought.
It's a crazy thought process.
She was like, "No, babe, you're no." Anyway,
That's all right. You're learning.
so our main discussion for today. Last week, Deadline published an article highlighting a significant 20% decline in film and TV production in the greater Los Angeles area during 2023. This drop, caused by industry strikes and other factors, resulted in only 183 projects, with increasing competition from places like the UK, Georgia, and Ontario. Industry leaders are calling for expanded tax incentives to stimulate local investment, stressing the urgent need for policy changes to protect California's entertainment industry and economy. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's break that down.
Let's break that down.
It is California.
So how do we feel about the shift in the TV and film industry?
So, I think of this by thinking why they originally moved to California in the first place, because the whole reason was because of the sun, and they could they had extended hours of light, and they could film for long hours.
Yeah.
in
Also, the
harsh
weather
sun.
is
Yeah.
so much better than it was before. Well, you know this. Before then, it was in New Jersey,
Yeah, places with a lot of rain.
yeah, Florida. Well, they tried Florida.
Oh, and it rained every day.
It rained
there.
every day, and they were like, "Hey, let's keep it to theme parks."
Yeah,
I thought it was
Still a
Thomas
weird decision,
Edison.
too.
Yeah, Thomas hasn't started in New Jersey.
Yeah. No, with all patents and stuff, they moved to California.
No, that was more. Tommy, do you remember why?
Why what?
Why they moved to California? Other than weather, it was the sun.
It's the sun,
I
and
thought
also
there was something with
Yeah.
executives or some.
Maybe because it's there's so much land mass or something, but
Well, what?
it's kind of
I don't
sinking
remember.
though right now.
It's kind of.
It's sinking for
But
the
yeah,
last
continue.
40
Continue.
years.
No, yeah. So they moved to LA because it was a place where they could shoot for long hours, but now I don't know, taxes are going up, it's sinking.
It's
Why
California.
why stay there? It's California. There's other places with
Yeah.
harsh
Michigan
sun.
and Texas.
I mean,
Go to Nevada or something.
yeah. I mean, well, both of you are right. Nevada is growing a lot. In the past 10 years, it's grown a lot.
Well, yeah, it's cheap.
Well, yeah, for the most part. But also, I mean, films were already shot in Nevada for years. A good amount of James Bond films were shot in Nevada. Also take place in Nevada. And some Doctor Who stuff took place. The Brits just love using
All
Nevada.
of Breaking Bad was filmed there.
Exactly.
Really?
And Mike.
That in New Mexico. but,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
didn't
New
shoot
Mexico
complete
too.
location.
You mentioned Texas. Texas is also kind of growing
Yeah.
for the entertainment industry, which is interesting. For the past maybe decade, and it's been growing. Atlanta
Yeah.
is big.
Yeah, makes sense.
We mentioned the UK and Ontario. I haven't really heard that much about Ontario, so I
No.
think that's interesting.
Well, I know those areas as a whole, Toronto, Ontario,
Yeah.
have huge film industries.
Oh yeah, they have the there's
The
a
International Film Festival.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
TIFF,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I know Vancouver is really big for TV because of taxes.
Mhm.
That's the whole thing. And I know at least Toronto has a good market for sports. And I'm sure New York they're trying to push New York, which is still
Well, even that New York is really expensive.
New York is
Yeah,
still
no.
really expensive.
Hell no, man.
And
It's expensive.
so is Long Island.
Plus, who films in Long Island?
Oh, people do.
The Godfather.
We do.
Well, we're kind of forced to.
We have to.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the taxes. It's it's expensive to live in LA. I feel like there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people here who want to be in this industry, who are like, I don't want to go to LA.
Yeah, nah.
Because of, it's not just because of the
Yeah.
taxes, but like the culture is not great.
Everybody I've met, including film school, including me, that's their biggest drawback of working in this industry. They're gonna
Yeah.
have to move to LA, and they're gonna have to get a $2,000 a month apartment, and with a bunch of roommates, and like be surrounded by like homelessness and.
Well, that's a good point. Is that like
Homelessness is
It
also
was-
everywhere. Sorry.
I know,
I'm
but
gonna
like New
interrupt,
York and
but-
LA was really friendly, in like silent film era, and like for the past 100 years, for newcomers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, not super friendly, but it was easier
Yeah.
because it was not as stupid expensive, and it was a little easier to snuggle. That was a weird word to use, to get into the industry.
Okay.
But now, because
It's flooded now.
it's flooded, the industry is flooded. It's not super easy to get a job in these
Hell no.
big industries, and it's too expensive for somebody to work as a waitress while trying to make it. It's
It-
just you're
Yeah,
absolutely
the
right.
dream is kind of dead of like, oh, I'm going to work as a waitress for a few years while also, steadily building my resume.
Yeah.
Because now while you're building that resume, you have to pay taxes and rent, and it gets too much, and like
It
you
is.
can't sustain living in LA. And that's why like I really hope we expand the industry across North America.
I think it will. I absolutely do.
Like hopefully before I get out of film school.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know how like expansion works honestly, but like I'm thinking with the internet and stuff, like if enough people in like smaller cities like start stuff, I think that could help breed like competition and stuff, and then hypothetically like lower stuff.
Well,
But
yeah, what's
Yeah.
nice is like they can, do like they can shoot an entire film,
yeah,
but then pre and post production can
Yeah.
entirely be done on like a laptop.
exactly.
Yeah, I do that.
I could edit the entirety of Jurassic Park on my like Dell from 2019,
Absolutely.
and I think that's why they could
Yeah.
expand the industry.
It's easier now.
Yeah.
There's also like venues and like places to work everywhere.
That too.
Like there's a couple of cities like Utah has been growing exponentially for years.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's but that too. But like they just got 2 sports teams in the last like
Oh, they did?
10 years.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's
Which
how young
ones?
the Grizzlies are. I don't follow basketball.
I just know the Utah Jazz.
Oh, it's the Jazz. Sorry, the Utah Grizzlies were a minor league hockey team.
Okay.
I'm dumb. They got Utah Hockey Club this
Yeah.
past season.
Nice.
But yeah, the Utah Jazz are like I don't
Yeah.
know, like 10, 15 years old. But like that city's growing, and that city could probably sustain like a young
Yeah.
film market. It's one of the youngest cities in America.
like there's a lot of
Really?
places we haven't
Yeah,
touched
crazy.
that could potentially like really
Yeah.
like benefit
Absolutely.
from the studio. I know some towns can't even handle a Chick-fil-A, but
That's so funny.
That's
like,
weird.
some places would have the infrastructure
Yeah.
to maybe like, I don't know, Albany.
Albany probably could. There's places in Connecticut that have done some stuff for like the Olympics and stuff.
We
and
could
they
even handle a
probably-
hockey team. I don't know if we can do a film studio.
It's not the 80s or 90s anymore. But and that hockey team was not run well.
Poor Whalers. Shout out.
Shout out. I love the Whalers.
Whaler?
Um,
Oh, yeah,
there was
that
a
makes sense.
hockey team in Hartford, Connecticut,
There was.
and now
There
they're
was.
now they're in Carolina. But also speaking of Carolina, that's a good segue. I think Raleigh or Charlotte,
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
somewhere
fair.
in Carolina,
that,
North
yeah.
Carolina. I
Well,
think
that's
could
also
do very
beautiful
well.
weather.
I can see
It's
that.
kind of low taxes.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The only reason why I wouldn't go back to Florida is because it rains every single day.
Oh God, yeah. But it's also Florida, so I'm good with I'm good with that.
I love Florida, but I get it.
It's there.
It's also like
We could saw it off, and I wouldn't mind.
Sinking.
That's hilarious.
Florida is also
Florida,
sinking.
everything's sinking. Well, Florida's gone. We're also gone.
New Orleans is sinking, which I love New Orleans, but like
Do you think New Orleans could be a good?
here's the
Maybe?
thing. I do because of its cultural significance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's below sea level. And also, what's happening around the earth.
and
I think
bayous.
it would be the riskiest thing
Yeah.
to shoot there.
That's true. I would be kind of interested in seeing like the UK and like that whole thing. The only drawback is that the UK television is more controlled by the government
Yeah.
than
Is it
it is
really?
in America. Yeah, like the BBC
It's the BBC.
is their version of PBS,
Yeah.
but it's the biggest thing. BBC for them is like ABC, NBC.
Oh, so that's
So-
like that network runs like almost
Yes,
everything
like
there.
their
British
their
Broadcasting
version of the
Channel.
FCC is so much more strict than ours.
Mm.
And it's everything is more controlled there. Like we have way more freedom of the press and freedom of whatever. So yeah, that's the only drawback for me is to moving some American productions to England.
I mean, we can also do something like, I don't know, like Dublin. Like we can
Dublin
see like
could
a
be
film
interesting.
you know, industry growing from there.
Scotland.
Perhaps Scotland. Maybe even like places that, in Mexico.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just want expansion.
I
Breaking Bad?
think I think New Mexico's a great idea, honestly.
Maybe.
Well, Abby, you have anything?
I've been really intrigued by the history lesson, to be honest.
Oh, thank you.
I just
I'm a
realized-
really weird history nerd. Like, I started. Fun fact about me, I guess. It started just with world history, and then we started learning about American history, and I really got into that.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
then starting film school, and you learn about all the history of film and TV, and I got really into that because it's like I already loved film and TV.
Yeah.
So I just have a weird encyclopedic knowledge of just random stuff. All right. Well, it's what's going on right now in LA. It's very interesting, and it's going to be kind of exciting to see what happens. We're now going to hand it back over to Abby with another news break.
Oh, hang on one sec. Okay, ready? Here we go.
After many delays and hiccups, the anticipated Disney film Lilo and Stitch is set to release on May 23rd of next year. It was announced last Thursday that Henry Cavill will star in Amazon's MGM's live-action film Voltron. The film will be directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber, and there is currently no release date set. ABC has announced 6 more ESPN Monday Night Football games in a joint decision between the NFL and the Walt Disney Company. This is to boost ratings that were lower during the Hollywood labor strikes. And that's all for this entertainment news break. Now let's get back to the movies.
Thank you again, Abby. Before we go off, I can't let this slide. It's Lilo.
I know I said that and I was like, oh. And I saw your face and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of cooked, guys.
Sorry. It's okay.
You're fired.
No.
No.
We're now going to kick off our Hollywood news discussion by taking a look of some James Bond. We're going to talk
Okay.
about some James Bond, guys. We haven't really talked about James Bond that much.
We really have. It's untouched territory for us.
It's kind of is.
Which James Bond? There was like 8 of them.
None of them, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm shaken by this revelation.
Amazon MGM Studios head Jennifer Salk reassured James Bond fans that while there will be a wait for the next film, the process is moving forward with confidence. Salk confirmed that the studio is working closely with Eon Productions to maintain the franchise's high standards, stressing that there is no rush to produce the next installment. She also dismissed rumors of a Bond TV series. I don't like that. Emphasizing that the
What's wrong with
focus...
it?
I'll discuss that in a second.
Right.
Focus that will remain on theatrical releases. While no major updates or casting news has been announced, Salk highlighted that there are many exciting ideas being explored for the next film. She reminded fans that quality takes time, and Amazon is respecting the established process to reassure the next Bond movie honors the legacy of the iconic character. So how do we feel about the slower approach to filmmaking? Because I feel like a lot of films these days are kind of just rushing out.
So I'm not usually a fan of corporate decision making, anarchist, but
Damn, bro.
I really do appreciate this because we've had kind of almost like a Bond, what's the term? Like we've kind of gotten spoiled with Bond movies for a while.
Yeah.
We had that run with the Craig ones of Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die, and they kind of like, we kind of got burnt out for a
Yeah.
while. We had 5 of those, so I'm definitely a fan of them, taking their time, reevaluating, and come back to something new because Bond movies really never changed.
No, there's a formula to it. If you really watch them, there is a formula. The Craig movies kind of disrupted the formula, which is fun.
Well, especially the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like especially like until Daniel Craig, there was we have a little mission in the beginning that might have something to do with it, but probably doesn't. Oh, you have the inciting incident, and then we have this, and then we have that, and then like somebody tries to kill Bond the entire film. Like
And he almost does, and then like he doesn't, and then
yeah, and that was whatever.
Like there are ones that kind of break from that. Skyfall,
Yeah.
because that's like his organization kind of being attacked. Casino Royale is my personal favorite.
I love Casino
Bond
Royale.
film. I mean, oh my god, it's
I
brilliant.
wrote a spy thriller last semester for a class, and I based it off of Casino Royale.
All right, good. That's a remake, right? Like a loose
Kind
one?
of. They made a Casino Royale film that was not canon. It was not with Eon Productions.
Mm-hmm.
They made 2 Bond films in the 70s and 80s. It was that one and Never Say Never Again. Fun fact, Never Say Never Again is called that because...
And I assume Taylor Swift's song was a prequel?
it was actually a sequel. Never Say Never Again is named that because Sean Connery said, "I will never be James Bond again," and he was in that film.
Damn, bro.
So they said Never Say Never Again is the name of that film. Both of those are not canon. Never Say Never Again is a remake of Thunderball, first of all.
What's Thunderball?
Thunderball is a Bond movie
It's
that
a
he was
Thunderball.
in like the 60s. And then Casino Royale is more of a parody film. It does not have any of the actual Bonds. It was not related. Neither film was related to Eon Productions. So it's kind of a remake, but not really, because that Casino Royale with Craig is like officially with Eon and MGM and stuff.
All right, I got some of that, but like,
Sorry.
no, it's all good. Trust me. But yeah, so it's an unofficial remake of a non-canon
Yeah.
Bond film.
Yeah.
But it's still the same characters.
Yeah, it was still Bond and like
The whipping guy, I forgot his name.
yeah, all of them. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I like slower approach to film. I think. I mean, not that they're awful.
I mean, like, hey, Megalopolis took 30 years.
Megalopolis took 30
look at that. Look at
years.
that came out.
Um,
No, like so did Fury Road. So
Fury
it's okay.
Road, yeah. For me at least, I mean, if you look at this, a good example is the early Bond films. Sean Connery did like nothing other than Bond films in the 60s, because there was a film in 62, a film in 63, a film in 65, a film in 67. Like they kept on rolling them out.
Like
year
each
after
year.
year after year
Oh,
after year.
okay.
And like they're fine. But like if you look, you can look at like the MCU too right now. Better example is they're kind of rushing it to the point where like the VFX artists don't really have time to do their job properly. And like that's been a whole thing we've talked about on the show before.
I mean, like that was much more of a problem in like 2021 when they were really just pumping out show after show,
Yeah.
like Moon Knight.
And they kind of realized that, and like they're taking more time, and they've addressed it too.
But like yeah, during that period, that was disgusting. But did the same thing happen with Bond movies?
Not more recent, not since like the 70s, but like Sean Connery, like he loved doing it in the beginning, and then like by the end of his run, he didn't want to do it anymore because he was just so sick of it. He hated doing it because he was incredibly burnt out, which I think is so interesting. A man who came back to the role twice after leaving it.
I wonder what would incentivize him to do that.
Money.
Artistic integrity.
Well, also, he's like the best Bond.
He's a Bond. You know what? As hot take, I've always loved Pierce Brosnan.
I like Pierce Brosnan
Very
too.
confident man.
I don't, this could be a whole nother show, just an hour-long show of who's the best Bond.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, that's a good segue. Who do you guys want to see be the next James Bond?
Austin Powers.
That's very funny. That's a parody.
I know.
Any actors?
Timothy Chalamet.
That's hilarious.
That's what they're gonna go with that. I
Henry
swear to God.
Cavill.
I love that. Henry Cavill wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Who's like an up and coming British? Oh my God! If I say
I
Andrew
have-
Garfield, I'm not gonna say
Don't
it,
do
but
Andrew
I'll think
Garfield.
about it.
Andrew Garfield is James Bond?
I have two names. One is a little different. I have two names. Taron Egerton.
Oh my God.
Right?
Kingsman, it's perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Idris Elba.
Ooh.
Little different,
Yeah, no, I see it.
but right?
Well,
I kind of like it.
He's like stoic. He's kind of older. I
Yeah.
can see that. I can see him being like a
Bond's
wiser
tend to be
Bond.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other guys? It could also be woman.
That's true.
It could also be woman. They kind of set that up with Ana de Armas's character in the last film.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
They're not going to do that, but I think she might be getting her own film.
Do you think they're going to take that big of a? Well, they're doing that with John Wick essentially. Like
Yes.
she's being like.
Oh yeah.
It's a female-led movie in the John Wick universe.
Wait,
That's what I want them to do with Bond.
did John Wick?
Yeah, like not make
die
it the same character, or
again?
make it like a spin-off character.
Yes.
Because
There's a lot they could do with Bond, and they just don't, and they can. So that's why I was like, I'm upset that they're not going to do a TV show. I want a young James Bond TV show,
like young
so
Sheldon.
bad. Kind of, just not young Sheldon.
What?
Like, what's like a TV show that's like an origin
Like Gotham.
TV show? Kind of like Gotham, but more Game of Thronesy,
You know what?
or like the Penguin. I want it to
mark,
be.
Mark my words, because I swear to God they're gonna make this. But what's his organization? MI5 or like
MI6.
British Intelligence?
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's a name for
They're,
it.
they're gonna make a TV show called MI6, and it's gonna be the origin of like his company, because they love doing that.
I'd believe that.
And
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, oh, at the last episode, they're gonna be like, we have a guy, Bond, and
James
like,
Bond.
you're now 007 or something.
I just want a young James Bond TV show of just like, because there's a lot in the books about
There's
his
books?
Yes, Mike, they're based off of books.
I did not know that.
Written by Ian Fleming. This is one of my favorite film fun facts
Yeah.
ever. Ian Fleming Ian Fleming was in World War II.
Yeah.
He's the guy who wrote James Bond.
Yeah.
And he wrote James Bond basically because he had a desk job in
Makes
World War
sense.
II,
Yeah.
and he imagined James Bond of what he wanted to be doing in the war,
That's fair. Yeah.
like spy stuff.
Oh, that's good. It's like a fan fiction.
It's basically fan fiction, but he based James Bond off of his friend Christopher Lee.
No way.
Yeah,
Who's Christopher Lee?
Christopher Lee is Count Dooku.
And also
Star
like the
Wars.
Hammer film Dracula.
Yes, he's Dracula. He's in he's in Lord of the Rings.
Wow, Christopher Lee must feel honored.
I know. Well, he's
He's dead,
Oh.
but
he
you know,
passed
like,
away unfortunately. But he's so iconic. I love that fact. Yeah, but I want a young James Bond TV show
I can see. You know, I can
with
see
Tom Holland.
Dan Stevens would be a good James Bond.
Yeah,
I can see him.
they have to keep it. Is he an Englishman? 'Cause
He is an
they-
Englishman.
They
yeah.
keep it.
Do they have to have an Englishman?
Brits.
They might
from
have
the
to.
UK.
Okay.
From the UK.
So it could be Irish
one
or
of-
something.
One of them, I think Pierce Brosnan is Scottish.
Northern Ireland.
Like young Colin Farrell, maybe.
Yeah,
But like he's not young
Yeah.
anymore, so I don't, maybe not.
I don't know. I just thought, yeah. All right, moving on over from Amazon to Netflix, as they have recently canceled Chaos, a Greek mythology-inspired series starring Jeff Goldblum as Zeus.
Oh, this, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are you serious? How
They
have I never
canceled
heard
it.
of this?
Why?
It's on Netflix.
So it came and then went, and then, like
Yes.
a whisper.
So they canceled it after one season, despite strong. Well, I'll get to it. Despite strong initial buzz and a spot in the top 10 for several weeks, the show's cancellation followed underwhelming viewership numbers, which fell short of Netflix's performance benchmarks. This decision mirrors a growing trend at Netflix, where several high-profile series, such as 1899, The Midnight Club, and The Bastard Son of the Devil himself, have also been cut after one season. Despite generating initial excitement, these shows struggle to sustain audience engagement, leading to Netflix to cancel them due to a combination of underperformance and strategic shifts in their content pipeline. So,
Netflix
yeah,
does not know what to keep, what to renew, and what to cancel.
no.
Yeah,
They-
it just
they-
makes me wonder what their viewership goal is, because you're canceling all these shows that are getting watched and people do like and they want to watch another season,
Yeah.
but you're just canceling them because they don't fit your viewership.
Well, yeah.
And it's like
I think
don't know.
I think the problem isn't what they choose to cancel. It's the fact that they are flooded with content.
Yeah.
They have way too many originals, and it's like, okay, even if it's quality and if people are enjoying it and it's getting viewership, we can't. You have to make room for it
Yeah.
for the next season of Stranger Things. Like they're just, it's kind of unfair. But like really original ideas are just thrown out the window because of that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that they want the next Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
This society could have been the next Stranger Things. Just saying.
But yeah, they're a little impatient. I haven't really seen any of these shows, but I've seen like stuff about them, and they didn't look awful. In general, how do we feel about this tendency for Netflix to cancel series? It's just like willy-nilly.
It's scary, definitely, because two of my favorite shows right now are Netflix originals, like Love, Death, Robots, I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
And if those get canceled, my heart's gonna break, and I'm gonna cry.
I Think You Should Leave is a great sketch
It's
show.
the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know if they are gonna cancel that anytime soon.
It's pretty popular. Like
it is.
Successful.
It's pretty popular. But yeah, I think Netflix just likes experimenting, and if the experiment doesn't go well, they cancel it. We saw something similar with Star Wars. This past, God, was it June?
With the Acolyte.
With the Acolyte. It didn't do great, and like honestly, it's the one Star Wars thing I haven't loved from Disney, other than Rise of Skywalker.
You could say that's like an experiment, I guess.
What was
but
wrong with that?
I think that's also due to overcrowding, because we've had so many Star Wars shows.
I do think there's some Star Wars fatigue.
I think we're having the same thing we had with Marvel, where they just made so many shows and people just got burnt out.
Yes, but also they just didn't make great decisions. But absolutely room for season 2, which I think could have been better. And they canceled it because it didn't do great. So, I mean, for me, I just don't love... it's a whole money thing. This is what it really comes down to. It's money. They don't think they're going to get viewership. That's how they get money, really. And they don't think something's going to be possible or popular, and they're going to cancel it because they don't see it as a viable business option or something to spend money on to produce, because productions, especially nowadays with the way that Disney, Amazon, HBO, Netflix spend money on productions, these type of productions, all these are single cam TV shows, and TV shows nowadays are filmed like movies. It's expensive.
Oh, there's no difference now.
There's no difference, which I love, but there's really no difference. It's expensive. So they're looking for ways to cut costs, and it sucks. I wish we could just have, okay, we want this series to be 3 seasons. We're signing a deal to produce all 3 seasons.
And then we're going to cut it there.
We're going to cut it there. That's
no
it.
renewal, no...
Yeah. We're not going to, because a show should have a beginning, middle, and an end, and there's a lot of shows that just continue, and they kind of suck after the initial ending, and they keep on going because it's going to make money, or it might not make money. But also that kind of prevents it from ending in the middle of a story, and we don't get to see the end of the story.
Yeah. Like, they kind of did that with Arrested Development.
Yeah.
They took that show, which it was got canceled, from its original network, and did like a season, and then they did another season, and it was awful. They just have a problem with taking stuff that they don't need, and like they keep producing stuff.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
I think that's why the original movies are probably a smarter investment, because that's just a one and done thing, that they're taking something and just getting a license for it.
And even then, like, wasn't Red Notice a Netflix original?
It was a Netflix original.
Like, that didn't do great. It was a good cast, but it didn't do great.
They're pumping out Red Notices. They got The Gray Man. They got are they making Red 1? That new Santa movie. Oh, they got the Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas Chronicles. I started that and never finished it.
I watched all 2 of those.
It wasn't because it was bad. It was because I had to go do something and I never got back to it.
You didn't miss much.
Although I kind of liked, what's his name as Santa?
Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
My father said it's the greatest Santa ever put to film.
That's not true.
It's not.
The greatest Santa
Tim
ever put
Allen.
to film. Yes, it's Tim
Of
Allen.
course it's Tim, the king. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, anybody else have anything to say about this? We actually have a good amount of time to talk about this.
I feel like another issue is the first season of shows never is supposed to get great viewership because it's the intro. And so usually by second or third they'll get people watching it. And so to cancel it after the first season, it's you're not giving it anything to do. And also I feel like Netflix is really bad with their PR. And I'm
100%.
really part of me wants I love Stranger Things, comfort show, one of my favorites. I want it it ends 2026, I think. And after that, I'm wondering if they're just gonna jump to Bridgerton, and that's gonna be the next thing that they like just hound on.
I think it will be.
Yeah. But then it's like after that ends, what's gonna be the next like
So
big thing you're doing?
that brings me to another discussion, and I've had this many times with my girlfriend discussion, is that Netflix and HBO and all these channels, streaming services, like to take their time making shows. It's not annually. I just watched season 2 this summer of House of the Dragon. Season 1 came out when I was a freshman.
Dang.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe a senior in high school, freshman in college. I'm now a senior in high school, in college.
What?
I'm now a senior in college. You know, like that is 2 to 3 years waiting for, and it's back to back, and the characters are older. Stranger Things is a great example.
Stranger
Yeah.
Things
It takes
started when I was in middle school.
Yeah,
I'm-
same. It's supposed to be in like a 4 or 5 year gap of each other, all the
Yeah.
seasons, and like they went from being like 11 years old to Millie Bobby Brown being 21.
She's married now.
And she's married. Like that's way too big of a gap.
Yeah.
And like
Well, I think they have no release schedule.
No.
They don't do what like Marvel
should.
does, where they outline all of their
That's
shows
true.
and
absolutely
movies.
need to. It's a good example for like Bridgerton is another great example of this. Is that the kids, what are their names?
It's like
Hyacinth and George.
yeah.
Not George, Gregory.
Yeah.
Are, if my girlfriend's listening, she's laughing at me because I always call him George when his name's Gregory. They were like little kids, like 10 when that show started in season 1. Season 3, they were like freshmen in high school. And by the time we get to theirs, because each book is a new kid's like love story. By the time we get to theirs, they're going to be in their 30s at this rate. And it's crazy how long it's taking. They should do these every single year, like we had old TV when it was on cable or network.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's why so many people applaud like Abbott Elementary. Because
Yes.
they're like busting it out, and they're like good quality episodes.
They're great quality. Quinta Brunson is amazing showrunner and writer and actress on that show. That's also a show that is technically on cable or network on ABC, and they put it on streaming afterwards. I love that model.
Yeah.
I love that model. They do it a lot with NBC stuff. I love it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Anybody have any final thoughts on this?
AI
Netflix
de-aging.
Oh.
AI de-aging.
We can talk about that another time. That doesn't really have anything to do with it.
That was a shift. I don't know. Netflix takes way too long to actually renew anything, so they'll, instead of having like this consistent schedule, they'll like put it up in the air whether they'll like renew it or not, and then it'll be 2 years too late, and then they'll start production after the season's released.
Yeah. Well,
So they're just kind of a mess over there.
Yeah. All right. Our last Hollywood news story is really not going to be a discussion. It's just going to be me saying something. It's an in memoriam, unfortunately. Gavin Creel, Tony Award-winning Broadway actor and activist, passed away on September 30th, 2024, at the age of 48 after battling with a rare form of cancer.
Yikes.
Yeah. Known for his role in Hello, Dolly, Thoroughly Modern Millie, Hair, and The Book of Mormon, Creel left a lasting impact on Broadway. Beyond his performances, he was a devoted LGBTQ plus advocate, beloved for his warmth and passion for the community. Broadway will honor his legacy by dimming the lights of several theaters, including Circle in the Square and Helen Hayes. His loss is profound, but his influence will continue to inspire. The screening would like to send out thoughts and prayers to Creel's family and friends. I forgot I edited the script wrong because originally Brandon was going to say that.
Oh my goodness.
And Brandon's not here today. So the next little thing in my script is thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, myself. So there's always so many new things coming out to watch, and it's very hard to keep track. So let's quickly go over the movies and TV shows coming soon with Tune In this week.
Yes, sir. You want to say? Ooh, shit.
Smile 2 is the highly anticipated sequel to the 2022 horror hit Smile. Directed once again by Parker Finn, the movie follows a new protagonist, Sky Riley, played by Naomi Scott. Sky is an international pop star about to embark on a world tour when she starts experiencing terrifying and inexplicable events tied to a sinister supernatural force. As the horrors escalate, Skye is forced to confront dark aspects of her past while struggling to cope with the pressures of fame. The cast also includes returning actor Kyle Gallner as Joel, along with new additions Lucas Gage, Rosemary DeWitt, and Raul Costello. The sequel promises to expand on the original's eerie atmosphere with a bigger scope and even more intense scares.
All right, not to be that guy, but it's Kyle Gallner.
I don't know words. Smile 2 will hit theaters on October 18th.
Nice.
Good Rich is a comedy drama film directed by Haley Myers Shire, starring Michael Keaton and Mila Kunis. That's a fun. I know, right? That's why this movie's here, because I was like, ooh, that's a fun combo. The plot follows Andy Goodrich, played by Keaton, a Los Angeles art dealer whose life is turned upside down when his second wife enters a 90-day rehab program. Left to care for their 9-year-old twins on his own, Andy seeks help from his estranged adult daughter, Grace Kunis, from his first marriage. As Andy navigates modern parenthood, he gradually evolves into the father Grace never had. The film features a strong supporting cast, including Carmen Ejogo, Andy McDowell, Michael Urie, and Laura Benatti. Goodrich is set for a nationwide release on October 18th. NCIS Origins, that's our NCIS coming back, is a sequel series that takes viewers back to 1991, focusing on the early career of Leroy Jethro Gibbs, portrayed by Austin Stowell. Set years before the events of the original NCIS, the show explores Gibbs' journey as a newly minted special agent at NCIS, fledgling Camp Pendleton office. Guided by NCIS legend Mike Franks, played by Kyle Schmid, Gibbs begins to forge his identity as a tough, no-nonsense investigator fans know and love. Mark Harmon, who famously portrayed Gibbs for years, returns to narrate the series. The cast also includes Marielle Molino as Special Agent Lala Dominguez, Tyla Abercrombie as Field Agent Operation Support Officer Mary Jo Sullivan, and Diane Rodriguez as Special Agent Vera Strickland. NCIS Origins premieres on October 14th with a special 2-hour episode on CBS. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is a spin-off from Young Sheldon and continues the story of Georgie and Mandy as they navigate the challenges of parenting and marriage in Texas. Set for... sorry, I lost my place. Set just a few months after the events of Young Sheldon's finale, the show sees the couple living with Mandy's parents, Jim and Audrey, while raising their young daughter. The series features a cast that includes Montana Jordan, Emily Osment, Will Sasso, and Rachel Bay Jones. The series premieres on October 17th on CBS. Along with those premieres, highly anticipated new seasons of What We Do in the Shadows, NCIS, Blue Buds, Ghosts, and Shrinking all premiere this week as well. Well, that's going to wrap up our show this week. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Screening Room on WRHU. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram at Screening Room WRHU to stay up to date. And be sure to tune in to our show every Sunday at 10 a.m. only here on 88.7 FM Radio Hofstra University. But until then, just remember, as my friend Kermit the Frog said, life's like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing. Keep pretending. Have a great week, everyone.